Man, I had a VBS last week.
Oh yeah, you did the maker thing.
That was insane. It was really good, really good. We had the best turnout we've had in years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How many people did you have show up?
We had 41 kids.
That's fun.
So, yeah,
Good
41 kids. And the interesting was, like, we had 41 on night. No, we had 42 on night 2. And typically it goes up.
Yeah.
But then we had a couple. Yeah. But then we had a couple kids, couldn't come for the last couple days. But in place of those, we had about 5 to 6 more kids show up. So had all of them showed up at the same time, we probably would have busted 50 this year, just in kids. That's not kids and adults. So
yeah, you got to count the adults separate.
Yeah, we had over 30 volunteers. Dude,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
you could have fielded a lot more kids.
Yeah, we could have fielded a lot. We actually how we do the rotation where the groups go around.
Yeah.
On night 1, we only had 4 groups, but every other night after that, we had to have 5 groups.
Cool.
So in order to make it happen, we could have done more and everything like that. We could have put more kids in each group, but it turned out really good. I was really pleased with it. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of kids that had never been to VBS before, like younger ones, and we had a lot of kids that never been to our church, and so I think we had a family come to church after coming to VBS too. So
how did they find out about your VBS?
Mainly through word of mouth, advertising. I mean, a lot of times people will go and they'll look for vacation Bible schools.
Yeah, man, you hunt them down.
Yeah, they do that. So
to get rid of my kids for a couple of hours.
That's right. That's right. You know what I think we're going to do next year?
Have an all-day VBS so people can shake their kids all day?
Absolutely not.
Never.
Absolutely not. No.
Never.
But we might, one of the things we were talking about today, Jen brought it up, and it might have some merit, but we might actually provide a meal beforehand at 5:30.
Oh, yeah.
And do that each night.
All the churches around here do that.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up doing that. Because everybody's like, first of all, us doing VBS during the day doesn't work. Mm-hmm. I know some churches do that, but it doesn't work for us because we don't have any volunteers.
Yeah, they all got jobs, right?
They all have jobs. They can't take that up, but they can come after work, which most of them get off by 5. I went golfing on Saturday.
Really? You're that old?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got beat by someone older than me, too.
Really?
Yeah, Ron Duvall beat the crap out of me.
Well, older guys know how to play golf better because they're used to doing it, and I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why.
Yeah. I was exhausted. Honestly, I was so tired by the end of that. It was super exhausting. Super exhausting.
Oh, I'm so tired.
I was wrecked. Totally wrecked. I'm better now.
You're all okay?
Totally recovered, Martin. I totally recovered.
Do you think you could ever become like the regular golfer? Where you go golfing every single week?
No. We were doing that at the church for a while. We had a golf league.
Yeah.
And I totally hated it. I despised it. It actually, after we did the golf league, I didn't play for 4 years. I didn't play golf for maybe 5 years.
Okay.
Up until this last week. But then I played, and they do, it's like a church, a group of churches that get together, and they do it every other month. That's what it is. And I could handle that probably.
6 times a year? That's not too terrible.
Nah.
I got some folks in my church play golf all the time. They go multiple times a week. I got one fella who goes into tournaments and has won some money doing some tournaments.
Really?
Yeah. Of course, he got accused of sandbagging because he said his handicap was one thing and he and his partner both just had stellar days. So
really?
Yeah. So there was a little bit of question about whether or not he was in the right league, but they really just they both just had really good days that day. So they went and collected their winnings and ran out of there.
I had a really good hole. I don't have good games.
Really good hole.
I had one hole that I was really good at.
Oh, okay.
I had a good hole, and I got a par on it. It was a really good hole. And so I did that twice. But yeah, I I did really good. Did really good on one hole.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it I sucked.
Right, but that one hole, you really showed them.
I was on in that one hole.
Average.
It was a par 4.
Yeah.
It was a par 4, and it was a 5. It was a par 5, and I got on in 3, which is I'm not a big I'm a big guy, but I'm not a big hitter with the golf club. I go nice and easy. I just ease my way up there, and but no,
not in a rush. Not trying to destroy the ball.
Because if I destroy the ball, it's in the water. It hits someone else, which I did hit a few houses. That's
well, okay.
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to get scared for hitting someone's house with a golf ball. I'd be like, "Oh no, I hit someone's house."
They want you to hit their house, otherwise they wouldn't live there.
That's what I say now. Like, I hit a house and I yell after I hit. You hear like "bam," and I go, "That's what you get for living on a golf course." I just yelled that out. I don't apologize. Like, I really don't. I have no sympathy for anybody that lives on a golf course if they get like their windows broken or shingles are knocked off the roof. I just yell, "That's what you get for living on a golf course." That's what you get.
Yeah,
it really is.
Exactly.
I used to live on a golf course.
And did people hit your house with a golf ball?
A couple times, but we weren't in a high traffic area for where we were located. It wasn't that bad.
That'd be like in my new house if I complained if a beaver ate a tree that I planted. It's my own fault for
planting that tree near that beaver's house.
Right, exactly. For being near beavers. I know there's beavers there. I mean, I've been told about the beavers in advance, so I can't get mad about beavers.
You can't. They were there first, Martin.
I already know that they're there. I've never seen one. I really want to see one. I've never seen one.
You haven't?
No, well, every time I'm out there, I'm like working and stuff. And when the beavers are out, usually when I'm going home, beavers they swim around at night, I guess. Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about it. Well, I've been watching this TV show where the Mountain Men show where the guys hunt, or they're trappers and they trap all sorts of different animals for fur. And this one guy traps beavers all the time. He said, "I make all my money off the beavers. Some people catch the beaver and they can't make anything, but I can make this right here." And he starts talking about how he makes all sorts of things out of a beaver. And I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know that I can make anything out of a beaver except a dead beaver. I think I can make that out of a beaver. I can make a beaver carcass.
Beaver stew.
I don't know. Do you eat beaver?
I think you can pretty much eat anything. Can't you eat anything?
You can eat anything. That doesn't mean you should. So
is beaver like one of those animals that if you eat it kills you? Because I don't think it does.
No, I don't think it does. I think you just get fat, right? Wouldn't you just get fat from eating greasy beaver?
I think beaver would be a very greasy meat. I would think that it has it'd be like a steak, and it'd probably be really gamey. Red meat, obviously. Yeah, obviously, beaver's got to be real fatty red meat, and probably really very high in cholesterol. That's what I would think.
If the beaver is eating certain types of wood, is it going to make his meat taste different?
Yeah, like if he's eating like a maple tree,
it's going to taste like maple syrup?
Yeah, that's a good question. Or, if he's eating a pine tree, he's going to taste like a pine cone. Because, that makes sense to me. Orange tree, he tastes like orange slice,
Yeah.
Yeah, or orange slice. Either the soda or like an orange slice. Should anybody got any orange slices?
Did you see? So I put on the Facebook this thing that said, "We're recording now. If you want to say something to us, share it." And our friend Chris Henderson said, "You guys are stupid," and I'm going to have to agree with him. I'm going to have to say, based on this conversation about whether or not a beaver tastes like the tree that he eats on a regular basis, I have to say, agree with Chris.
You know what? I always think it's wise never to agree with anything Chris says.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So I think we need to disagree.
Well, I already agreed, though. That's the problem.
All right, I'm going to disagree real quick.
You disagree real quick? Go ahead in there and say...
Disagree.
Disagree real fast.
Disagree. There. Oh, spelled it wrong.
Oh!
Dang it. I got to get in there and change it. Got to change it. Edit.
Oh, my goodness.
Disagree.
Shameful.
Got it. Got it. We got it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
So you watched the new Spider-Man?
Yeah. Did you watch it yet?
Not yet. Me and Leon are going to go see it probably next week. I'm going to take Dave. It's good for the kids, right? You said that.
Yeah, I said it. It does have like a comment about porn in it. Yeah. And it's a hysterical comment, but then Toby goes, "Dad, what's porn?" I said, "Some you're not supposed to watch." That's what I said. Yeah. You know, and
you didn't want to tell him explicitly what pornography was?
No, drew diagrams and stuff like that. No, I didn't do that.
Oh, diagrams.
Yeah.
Stick figures.
He would be all confused even more. He'd be like, "Dad, you're like the worst drawer ever."
This doesn't make sense. It looks like a bunch of squiggly lines. It's not. Doesn't look. Well,
he'll be like, "It looks like everything's entangled." I'm like, "Well, that's pretty much what it is." It's a pretty accurate portrayal.
Anyway, I got a question for you because they're doing lots of remakes. Spider-Man's a remake or reboot or something like that.
It's like the third reboot in like 10 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, within a 10-year span.
Yeah, he's getting remade a lot. But there's a lot of different Spider-Man comic books, right? So like, there's Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099. I think there's a couple of more. There's more in there.
There's the gay Spider-Man too. Don't forget that one.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, there's a homosexual Spider-Man. I mean, that's not the name of the comic.
That's the name of the comic, Homosexual Spider-Man?
It's not the name of the comic, but there is one. It's Miles Morales.
It's not the same as Italian Spider-Man, is it?
No, it's definitely not the same as Italian Spider-Man. Let me just say this. If anybody's wondering what Italian Spider-Man is, just go to YouTube and type in Italian Spider-Man. Quite frankly, it's special. It's pretty special.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are all these different Spider-Men coming from different comics? Is like the source material different?
I think so. But I don't really know what they're doing. Yeah. Like, it's just, I mean, first you had Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. He seemed like a pretty decent Spider-Man to me.
He did seem like a decent Spider-Man, but then you get to the third Spider-Man, poops the bed totally.
Well, that's because they didn't do Venom well.
Yeah,
I mean,
they didn't
Venom
do
should have been a lot darker.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, that was by Topher Grace, right?
Yeah.
Is that the dude's name? Yeah, Topher Grace played Venom, and he looked too much like Tobey Maguire.
It's funny, because those guys were like exactly the same. Yeah. I can't even tell the difference.
Yeah,
it's like Michael Cera and that guy who looks like Michael Cera.
Yeah.
They look like the same guy.
Who is that?
I don't know. It was Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
those guys were like the same guy,
They're
right?
pretty much the same guy. Yeah. They had the same mother.
So Tobey Maguire and Topher Grace are pretty much the same guy.
Yeah, and once number 3 came out, it just fell apart. It just totally fell apart. It was horrible. It was like a really bad movie.
Yeah.
And then you had Andrew Garfield. And Andrew Garfield, like, I thought he was I really enjoyed those movies. Like, they were heart-wrenching movies. Okay? There was 2 of them.
I never even watched them. They
were heart-wrenching. I thought they were good. Unfortunately, he was way too cool. Like, to be Peter Parker. Like, way
Peter
too...
Parker's not cool.
No. Yeah. Andrew Garfield was way too cool of a Peter Parker. And
I really identify with Peter Parker.
Yeah. He's like your spirit actor. Like,
he's my spirit comic book character. That's why I like Spider-Man so much.
Yeah.
So...
Because he's a total nerd.
Well, yeah, he is. A little bit. And
no, not a little bit. He is. It's like the nerd.
Well... Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. When in Rome. Andrew Garfield, he was too cool to be Spider-Man. Not to mention, he just came out saying that he identifies as a homosexual man that doesn't practice homosexuality.
What does that even mean?
That means that he identifies as a homosexual man that doesn't participate in the sexual activities. I don't understand what that means either. Like, it sounds like
I would think
sounds crazy. It pretty much means you're not homosexual, is what I thought.
Isn't homosexuality defined by the act rather than the desire? Well,
I don't think he even desires it. Like, he even said, I have no desire for that whatsoever. Which...
Then how is he homosexual if he has no desire and has not participated in the action? I don't get it.
Got a great sense of fashion, perhaps? I don't know.
Well, we have a word for that. That's metrosexual.
Yeah, I know. I know that, but we're talking about Andrew Garfield, and
he doesn't know.
This is a good reason why he's not Spider-Man anymore, okay?
Because he wasn't nerdy enough to pull off the part.
Yeah, he was just way too trendy. Way too trendy and cool. Too trendy and cool. And
too metro, didn't quite work out.
And now you have the current Peter Parker, which I'll be honest with you, I can't even remember the actor's name.
It's the kid from Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
It's that kid.
Yeah. We're just gonna go the new Peter Parker. We're gonna say that. The new Peter Parker. And so, and I genuinely like this Peter Parker. Okay. Yeah. I genuinely like him because he is literally a kid. He is like 15, 16 years old. He is, and the actor looks like this. I think the actor might actually be a kid. And actually, it's pretty funny. Like, he's
got to be 18. I mean, he did a whole movie. He's got to be 18.
Well, they have 19. Like, young kids playing movies all the time, Martin.
Yeah, but as the lead?
Yeah, they do.
With big contracts to do multiple pictures?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they
man.
do. Harry Potter?
Culkin's rolling over in his grave.
Harry Potter?
Who's that?
You know, the movies and the books.
I read some of the books. I haven't watched the movies yet. I'm terrible.
Was it R.K. Rowling? Is it R.K. Rowling?
Yeah, R. Kelly Rowling.
R. Kelly.
That's right.
R.K. Rowling.
Right.
Rolling. Yeah, and so... So yeah, you can do that, Martin. And so I don't know how. I'm going to look up how old he is later, but genuinely, he did a good job. I was impressed.
So when they keep doing reboots, back to my original question, are they saying something about the previous movies, like they weren't any good? Is that what they're saying when they reboot a superhero character or reboot a movie?
That's what I get from it. I get from it is everything we've done prior to this is crap. That's what I get. So
okay, so do you think Rob Zombie thinks that the old Halloween movies aren't any good since he did 2 remakes?
Yes.
Of Halloween? Really?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Rob Zombie
is just a weirdo?
Is just a weirdo that likes to make weird freaking movies. Have you seen some of the movies he makes? Super weird.
Well, yeah, I saw Halloween and then the other Halloween that he made.
Have you seen any other movies that he's done?
Yeah, I've watched House of a Thousand Corpses, which is a horror classic. And I watched The Devil's Rejects, which I'm really on the fence about. I'm not sure that's a great movie, but they do play Freebird in its entirety in the film, which, you gotta like that.
Really?
So
I never saw that one. I saw the first one, that other one.
You wouldn't like The Devil's Rejects.
Why? Is it too scary for me?
It's not too scary. It's like violence just for the sake of violence. It's not like necessary to the plot or nothing like that.
Martin, I love that.
It's all good.
I love that. Yeah, I love violence.
But it's grisly violence. It's not it's
cheeky
like
and fun.
Realistic. I like campy violence. I like Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell kind of violence.
Good
That's
stuff.
What I like.
Good stuff. Although, have you seen that Evil Dead television show?
Yeah, I've seen some of that. And it's
freaky. Well, it is freaky. It scared the crap out of me. I literally, it scared me one time so bad, I had to go to the bathroom. It was that bad. I was like, whoop, I'm going to put pause on this sucker. I'll be right back. Change my pants. I like
Bruce Campbell, though. I mean, he really cracks me up. I think he's really good.
He is.
But I think there's something going on with the remake where it's like they're trying to make more money because they have the intellectual property already, and they just want to make more money off of it, so they go and they redo it again. Why in the world would they keep making Fantastic Four movies? The first Fantastic Four movie was awful. The follow-up was even worse. The reboot was a colossal train wreck, and it had Michael Chiklis in it.
Yeah, I know. Well, not the last one didn't have Michael Chiklis.
The last one didn't? Well, no wonder it was so bad.
The third was the remake of the first 2. But just so you know, I just want to clarify this. that was not the first Fantastic Four movie.
No,
Let me point you to the first Fantastic Four movie that is it has a documentary on Netflix. Fantastic documentary. Horrible movie. It was absolutely the worst thing you'd ever seen. But there's like bootleg copies. It never got released. It was the worst thing ever. Like, I'm looking everywhere to see if I can find that movie. But it was like so bad. Like, it was embarrassing. And just 10 years later, it was so bad. 10 years later, they made the first, the official first,
right? Or
the first that Marvel is claiming is Fantastic Four, and it's like if you compare it to that one, it's golden, you know. Yeah. But no, it's pretty. Those are horrible, you know. And honestly, I think we're gonna get another Fantastic Four pop up.
I would accept another Fantastic Four movie if Fox didn't make it and Marvel Studios made it.
Yeah. Well, and that was the key to this new Spider-Man. That it was. Yeah. I don't think it wasn't Fox. It was Sony, right? Sony and Marvel.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Fox didn't make it. They got finally the rights for it for Civil War. They got the rights to Spider-Man through Civil War, and because of that movie, and then now they're gonna do a good job. They're gonna do a good job.
Well,
and
they already
did. Well, and it has a Tony Stark. It has Iron Man in the movie too.
Yeah, but I'm still big on Cap. But I like the idea of Iron Man trying to mentor somebody, because that's outside of his wheelhouse. He's not going to do very well.
It's good. It's legit. It's legit good. He does a great job. It's perfect. You know, it's hysterical too.
It's everything we always wanted.
Mm-hmm. And Happy does a good job in it too.
Happy?
Yeah, that's the associate, the helper of Tony Stark. It's played by Jon Favreau.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. I like Jon Favreau.
Oh yeah, man, he's
Mississippi.
Great. Yeah, he's great. He's awesome. He's awesome. I really enjoy him a lot. So
he directed Elf, so you know I like that guy.
Yeah. He's got so many great movies. Jon Favreau, he's really good. I like that guy. He's a great actor. He plays small parts, but I'll tell you what, those small parts make a huge impact.
Welcome to intermission. Intermission.
Were you aware of the hubbub about Eugene Peterson, the guy who wrote the message?
No, what's the message?
The message.
Oh,
the Bible.
You mean the Bible message? Oh, what's the hubbub?
Right.
No, something happened to him. Is he gay?
You really don't know?
Is he gay?
No, he's not gay. I mean, I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it. He's 84 years old. I mean, he probably ain't much of nothing, if you know what I'm saying.
Kind of late to come out of the closet.
Well, yeah. But no. He was asked in a Jonathan Merritt interview. Remember that guy?
Oh, Merritt. Oh, that's a bad idea. Don't do interviews with Merritt. Ever. He'll
Merritt's
tear you up.
To get you.
He'll get you.
What's going on?
Yeah, Merritt will get you, man.
Okay.
If we ever.
When?
Yeah, when we arrive and he wants to interview us because of our comedic genius on the Two Bearded Preachers, we're turning that interview down, okay, buddy? Because he'll tear us up. He'll tear us up.
Anyway,
we're gonna be the two gay preachers. This is what we're gonna be. He's gonna
is that his thing?
I'm pretty sure he turns everybody he's interviewing into a homosexual. I'm pretty sure.
Really? Okay.
I think so.
Well, this has to do with that. He asked Eugene Peterson, who's written all sorts of books, very influential, great writer, like is able to, I don't know, he's one of these people who writes books that you actually want to read.
Mm-hmm.
Like books that you don't have to read, but you get them because you want to read them.
Okay.
Just a good writer. Was a PCUSA pastor for a long time and was asked by Jonathan Merritt what his views on homosexuality were.
Here it comes.
And he pretty much said, yeah, I would do a homosexual wedding. Like when he was asked, would you do a homosexual wedding? He pretty much said, yeah, I would do that. And said that he had, that his church was likely to hire a homosexual music minister or something like that because he was a great musician. Or just, man, I'm making Justin puke over here. That's awesome.
Not puke. Well, that caught me off guard. I swallowed a piece of ice.
Oh, okay. But yeah, some stuff like that where he was just like, yeah, I would do that, which doesn't really surprise me because the guy is theologically liberal. I mean, you don't have to read too much of his stuff to realize that he's theologically liberal. But he says all this.
What does Merritt do to him?
That he affirms, essentially that he affirms homosexual marriage. He would perform a homosexual marriage, whatever. Merritt doesn't do anything. He just prints the article. Then
and the whole world comes crashing down.
Well, the next day, Lifeway says, this guy, we're not going to sell his books anymore. And then he comes out with a retraction that says, I hold to traditional biblical understanding of marriage. I would not perform a homosexual wedding. And when I think back on the interview and how these things were and how it was going, I don't really know why I answered it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you really didn't hear about this?
No. When did it happen?
This last week.
Okay, that's the reason why. Because I haven't been paying attention. Because
you're not paying attention last week?
I wasn't paying last week, yeah.
You were VBSing last week.
I was VBSing, so I was like, panicking to write a sermon, try to get all my lessons ready for the night, everything. Yeah. So that's what I was doing all last week, So
anyway, all this stuff happens, and Facebook and the internet and all the Twitter and everything just sort of explodes all over this guy.
Okay.
Because you got some people coming out saying that's great, and some people coming out and saying that's terrible, and all this kind of nonsense going on. And I'm just sitting back, and even in some of the in one of the preacher groups that I'm in, these guys were arguing back and forth whether or not they should continue to utilize the message.
Are you kidding?
Because and he produced that decades ago. Right? And they're trying to say that you can't utilize the message because the guy who wrote it doesn't affirm biblical marriage. Justin, yes. Justin, you have your hand raised.
I have a question.
What's your question? Yes.
How many of us actually use the message that much? I'm just curious because I
never use it.
I've used it maybe once. I've used it maybe once, and I used it because of that I used a main text. I used it like an actual good translation. Okay. Yeah. And then I said, or as like this says, I said it, the message says, I think I've done that maybe once or twice in 16 years, it came out 10 years ago. Is that what it is?
More than that.
Yeah. And so in 16 years, if it's been out longer than that or around that, I've referenced it maybe twice, but I never read it because it sucks.
I don't even have a copy of it.
It sucks.
Here's why I don't use paraphrases, and I would place and the Message and the Living Bible. I wouldn't use those personally because they are paraphrases, and it's the same. It's the same reason why I wouldn't read from the Storybook Bible to my congregation, right? Because that's essentially what you're talking about. Is that the one with the
pictures in it?
Yeah, the one you buy for your kids.
Yeah.
A paraphrase is perfectly acceptable for children. Right?
Yeah.
It's perfectly acceptable for children. But once you're in about, I don't know, my kids are in elementary school and they can handle a Bible just fine. You don't have to be too old before the kiddie Bible is not necessary anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So as an adult Christian, I don't feel it necessary to utilize a paraphrase. And even if I did want to use a paraphrase, I wouldn't go to a squishy guy like Eugene Peterson to give me that paraphrase.
Well,
yeah, Justin, you have your hand raised. Yes.
I have another question.
Yes.
I wouldn't go to Eugene Peterson to paraphrase anything for me either. That's his name, right? Eugene Peterson. I get that right.
Yeah, Eugene Peterson. Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't do that anyways because if I'm gonna if I'm going to get a paraphrase, I'm just going to do it myself. You know? I mean,
Right.
that's basically what a lot of preaching is that you're actually taking the scripture and the text, and then you're helping people to understand it by breaking it down and doing the, I don't need him to do that for me because I do it myself, you know.
Right.
And honestly, I do a much better job at it too. And I'm pretty dumb, and I do a much better job at it.
Well, you do a good job at it because you're breaking it down and paraphrasing it for your specific audience, for your congregation. There's nobody, I think, better able to do that than you.
Yes.
You are the one who can do that best.
In the context of my congregation. Yeah.
Right.
He's not saying that I'm the best out of everybody, because I'm sure there's more out
there. But
there.
in the context of your congregation, yes, I think you are the best to paraphrase the gospel for him, because you know them better.
Yeah. And I'm not being like prideful or anything like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'll do a better job than him. That's all I'm saying.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying I'm better than him. Okay, that's all I'm saying. It's just not. Is that being prideful?
I don't think so, but not in this instance. That's not to say that on my bookshelf, where I've got the what is the series called? Where I have the Contemplative Pastor, and I have Eat This Book, and I have Christ Plays in 10,000 Places, and I have Practice Resurrection. Those books. I've got his series there. I've got several of his books, and I think all of them are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy is definitely more of a mystic than he is a more rational Christian. And because I lean more towards the rational side of Christianity than the mystic side of Christianity, a lot of his stuff doesn't
resonate.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons, and because he's a good writer, that's one of the reasons I like his books, because it opens up a world to me that I don't really understand.
Yeah.
I don't really get.
Yeah.
But for the Bible, I don't need that.
No.
I don't need the fuzziness. But anyway,
did you when all those buddies? Can you put me in that group? Because if I was in that group at that time, I would have been like, "Why are y'all using the message in the first place?"
Hang on. You gotta be in this group.
Am I in that group?
Hang on.
Why are you guys using that in the first place? That's a horrible idea. I'd have said that.
Let's see.
I probably would have been ripped up too.
Well, this particular group, these guys are. You'll have to be approved. Let me type you in here.
Let's see if I.
They're gonna have to approve you, but these guys, it's like some of the professors from the family of schools that we're from, and several different preachers from there. They were having this big argument over whether or not you could use the message. And just let me ask you, Justin, is it appropriate to continue to use the works of people who change their views later on in life?
I think it depends on the work.
Okay, that's fair.
Depends on the work. If it's good work and it's sound at the time, hey, he could have written something good when he was younger and not so stupid, Because honestly, what he said was really stupid. That's bottom line. For him to be like, what he should have done? He should have said, "My bad, I'm really old and senile." That's what he should really have said, because that's basically what it sounds like happened. Because he gets older.
That might be a part of it.
He's older, and he's already a little liberal to begin with. Leans toward the mystic stuff and everything, and so
kind of fuzzy.
He's kind of So he probably should have just been like, "Hey, listen, guys, my bad. I probably shouldn't have said that, but as I get older, I'm a little bit more old. As I get older, I'm a little more squishier." And, I don't even remember talking to Jonathan Merritt. I mean, is that his name? Jonathan?
Yeah.
He should have been like, I don't even remember talking to Jonathan Parrott. And they're like,
Jonathan Parrott.
Yeah, said his name. That's what would probably really happen. He probably is embarrassed because he doesn't even know where he's at right now. And
maybe.
I mean, 84. My dad is 82. Yeah. 81. Jim is 81. And sometimes he doesn't know where he's at.
Fair enough. We both occasionally listen to the Drunk Ex-Pastors, right?
Yeah, I haven't listened to them in a long time because they started to annoy me.
They are a little annoying, but I feel good because I can sit back and say at least I'm not as pretentious as these guys. One of those guys, Jason Stellman, wrote some pretty decent books. He wrote 2 decent books before he became a Catholic, really. And
what's his new book like? Have you read his new book?
I haven't read it. I might buy it. I might buy it used.
How about this, Martin? You buy it used. You buy it used, and you message it to me, okay? Meaning you paraphrase it for me, okay?
I'll text it to you as I'm reading it.
Yeah.
I'll text you the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I don't see anything wrong with utilizing someone like Jason Stellman's past work. I don't think there's anything wrong with utilizing it, even though I disagree with the position that he's taken later on in life. Yeah. It's sort of like Mark Driscoll. Mark Driscoll has written some really good stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, he's had a certain fall from
grace,
grace, or his behavior has been questionable. That doesn't mean that the stuff he wrote wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
Right? And wasn't good. Same thing with Tullian Vision, right? Tullian has written some books, and they might be really good. I haven't read any of them, but that doesn't mean just because he couldn't keep his sex life in order.
Wait, who?
Tullian Vision.
Is that?
It's like Billy Graham's grandson
him?
Or something like that.
Wait, when did he have a sex problem? When did this happen?
Dude.
Man. I'm not keeping up with people's sex lives. On my bad.
Well, don't worry about it. It was this whole big to-do that happened earlier, well, that happened last year, essentially, where he was having problems because he wasn't how do you put this? How do you say this?
I don't know. I don't know what you're saying.
He wasn't practicing biblical sexual ethics. And because he wasn't practicing biblical sexual ethics, he lost his marriage.
That can mean a lot, Martin.
Well, I don't know the details. I know he wasn't practicing biblical sexual ethics. I don't know if he was running around with his wiener hanging out or what. So, I just don't know.
All right, good point.
But yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I probably wouldn't read a guy's book if I found out he just ran around with his wiener hanging out all the time. I mean,
but that doesn't mean that his books that he wrote prior to that, or the books that he writes after that, and has assuming he seeks repentance, and with any of these guys, assuming they seek repentance, or they are repentant, and they go through a disciplinary process, and they find themselves restored back into leadership, why can't we read the things that they write? Why can't we study them? What is the line that you dare not cross when it comes to reading or studying the work of other people? I mean, because I'm reading Calvin right now, and there's lots of criticism about Calvin. I've read some Karl Barth. There's plenty of criticism about him. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that these guys don't have very formative things to say and haven't had a massive impact on modern Christianity. Because if you're a Protestant, you're influenced by Calvin, right? And you can sit back and hate on Calvin all you want. But if you're a Protestant, this guy has influenced you. If you're a Catholic, if you're a modern Catholic, you're influenced by Calvin. There's no getting away from that. That's how influential and powerful a thinker he was. So you got to get over that. You got to get over Cervantes, and you got to get over his views, double predestination, and all that sort of stuff, because you're not going to really understand Christianity unless you can place him in there. And the same thing with Barth. You're not going to understand modern Christianity if you don't understand Barth, because he was so influential. But I mean, neo-orthodoxy has profound effects on the church, even with folks like you and me who don't really understand what neo-orthodoxy is. So what are you going to do? You're going to throw everything out and only read the people that agree with you? That's stupid. That's how you mitigate learning, is by only reading the people that agree with you.
Agree.
You don't want to get into it. You're like,
No, I agree. I'm sorry. I was just, while you were talking, right. I was reading about Tullian Titch, which, first of all, that guy's name is Nightmare.
He's got a lot of consonants in that last name, doesn't he?
How do you pronounce it?
Tullian Tchividjian.
Tchividjian? It looks
That's
longer.
how I pronounce it, personally.
It's, let me how would I, Tchividjian.
Read it.
All right, Tullian, which is, just go with it. All right, just sound it out. Tullian. And then it's Tchividjian. Tchividjian. And then it sounds like a Marvel superhero in a sense. Tchividjian. And let me just say this: like
the character named after him is gonna be the Black Panther.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly T'Challa. But yeah, I just looked up a picture of him, and I'm like, dude, that guy's kind of ripped. He's got like arms that are bigger than mine, which, well, nowadays is not really saying much. But ready for this? I just read that he resigned in 2015. All right, after an extramarital affair. That's what it was.
Right. Not practicing biblical sexual ethics.
Yeah, he had an affair, and then he was ruled unfit by the South Florida Presbyterian. Was ruled unfit for Christian ministry, but then June. Oh my gosh! 3 months later, he's announced as the director of ministry at Willow Creek Church in Winter Springs, which is another PCA church. But then, ready for this? In less than a year later, fired, following the disclosure of a second extramarital affair, one that predated his earlier acknowledged marital problems.
Right. And what I'm saying is, he's written some books prior to all that happening.
And they're pretty good, right? I think I read one of them. I read one of his. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Right. And he might write more in the future.
Yeah, if he ever gets another job.
Well, I mean, if he writes a book, it will get published, is what I'm saying.
You think?
He has enough of a following.
You think so?
If he writes a book, it'll be published. Yes. Because, look, Christian publishers, it's all well and good to sit back and say Christian publishers are only in it for the spread of the gospel, but we both know that's not true. They're in it to make money, and they can sell books if they put Tullian's name on the front, because yahoos like you and me will be like, isn't this the guy who had the affair and got fired and got a new job and then had the other affair and got fired again?
Yeah, where is he? I wonder what he says now.
What could he write, possibly, to justify writing a book? Let me pay $14.95 to get it. But, I mean, if he goes through a process of restoration, I see no problem with reading and benefiting from his study. I don't know. But it seems like there's a lot of people who, the second that they cross some sort of line, and it seems like the line is your view on homosexuality, that once you cross that line, you're no longer touchable by people who don't affirm homosexuality. Mm-hmm. Or don't affirm homosexual marriage. Like, I do not affirm homosexual marriage.
You don't?
If homosexuals asked me to marry them, I would have to tell them no. Not only would I say no because of my own convictions, but I'd say no because I cannot marry them, because my ability to marry people is based upon my status as a Christian minister, so I can only perform in good conscience Christian marriages.
Facts.
And a homosexual marriage is not a Christian marriage.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that.
Has anybody asked you this question, like, well, what if they tell you that they're going to sue you if you don't do the wedding? Like, has anybody ever asked you that question?
No.
I've been asked that.
Yeah.
Well, what if they threaten to sue you? And I simply said this: I turn down weddings all the time.
It's not like I'm sitting on, offshore accounts. At least not that you know about.
Not that anybody will know about.
That's right. I'm rolling around in this mad podcast money, bro.
Did we got that offshore account, right? Remember?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Not like they'll ever be able to find it. It's offshore.
You know it.
No one can find offshore accounts because they're not even on the shore.
Yeah.
You have to go offshore to find the offshore account. It's virtually impossible, Martin.